Hello children, welcome to today's English class. Hope you all are safe, healthy and happy at home, and lot of learning is going on these days, though you are at home but still connected with us through this media. Children, in the previous two classes we had tried to understand chapter 5 of your prose text, the 100 Dresses part 1. And we also tried to understand what was the message for the readers in this particular lesson, as this chapter was based on discrimination, okay, and the scene was something related to the classroom and about bullying, and the topics were also something which was of your interest because the characters were of your age. I hope you have read the chapter very well and have also looked at the word meanings, and as I had told you, you might have also tried to frame small questions from the text and tried to answer them. So, this way of learning will make understanding of the chapter easier for you and also understanding of the characters. Today we are going to learn the second part of the lesson, the 100 Dresses part 2. But before we move on to the second part of the lesson, let us quickly try to recollect whatever we have learned in part 1 in two different classes, so that we understand the second part in a better manner, and also we will be able to answer the questions related to the chapter in a better manner. So, children, let us go back to the main characters of the chapter once again, because it will help us to understand the second part of the story in a better way, because we need to remember the nature and qualities of all the main characters of the chapter. That is very important for you to answer questions related to writing pen portraits of the characters. So, the main characters were Wanda Petronsky and Peggy and Maddie, and of course Miss Mason was their teacher. Okay. So, let us try to quickly recollect what we know about Wanda. Okay. She had migrated from Poland, and then she was very poor. She lived in Borgens Heights, a place which was shabby but clean and full of mud, where poor people or people who migrated from different places stayed there. Okay. She was very quiet and she spoke less. Okay. She had one faded blue dress. Okay. And okay, she sat in a corner of the class. Okay. So, this was a picture of Wanda we have in our mind till now. Now, children, when we read the 100 Dresses part 2, so this picture of Wanda is going to change, and we are going to look at Wanda with a different perspective. Okay. So, for now we know this much about Wanda, that she was very poor. She had only one faded blue cotton dress, and she came alone to school and went back alone. She spoke very less. She did not have any friends. And now, what about Peggy? She was rich. Okay, she was pretty with curly hair. Okay, and she had many dresses, and she was the most popular girl in the class or school, most popular girl in the class, okay, and she was not cruel, and we had learned that she used to protect small children from being bullied, and whenever she saw animals being attacked, she used to be very sad because she loved animals. So, she was not cruel. But what was the one thing she did? She used to make fun of Wanda because she had only one faded dress. So, she used to play the dress game with her, isn't it? She used to play the dress game, she used to make fun of Wanda. Right? So, what was the time when they used to make fun of Wanda? Okay, that was after the school hours when she was there in the schoolyard, right. So, the time she came from home to school and the time when she went back from school to home all alone. So, these girls used to be there in the yard to make fun of her, and they used to play the dress game. Children, I hope you remember what was the dress game. Peggy used to ask her every day, how many dresses do you have, Wanda? And Maddie did not like this particular way of making fun of Wanda. Now again, let's look at Maddie. Now Maddie was also poor, okay, but she was good at heart, okay, and she was a good friend of Peggy. Okay. But if we look at the character of Maddie, though she was the closest friend of Peggy, she could not stop Peggy from making fun of Wanda. Though she was good at heart and she had a soft corner for Wanda, and she did not like the way Wanda was being made fun of for being poor or for living in Borgens Heights, the area which was very muddy and shabby, okay, where poor people lived. So, because she was also poor, isn't it? Maddie was also poor, but she did not live in Borgens Heights. She was happy that at least I am not as poor as Wanda, and I do not live in Borgens Heights, right. So, as she was a good friend of Peggy, she could not stop Peggy from making fun of Wanda, right. Now, let us look at the point why Wanda was being made fun of in the class, okay. One way she was being made fun of was for her name, okay, because her classmates felt her name was funny, it was a long one and it was an unfamiliar one, okay. The classmates and especially Peggy and other girls made fun of her because she had a strange name, funny name. According to them, Wanda Petronsky. It was a lengthy name for them. It was unfamiliar, and it also sounded funny for them. Okay, so this was a reason why they made fun of her, and the second reason was for her being poor and having only one blue faded dress. Okay, she had only one blue cotton faded dress. So, as we had seen that Peggy was rich and she had a lot of dresses, and so she used to ask her every day about her dresses. And now, what was Wanda's attitude, or how did she respond to these bullies that were made by her friends in the school. Did she get angry, or did she also reply them in the same way they spoke to her? No, not at all. She was very cool, and she used to reply very coolly that she had 100 dresses, though she did not have 100 dresses, isn't it? But this irritated Peggy, isn't it? Peggy got irritated because Wanda was lying. It was very clear that Wanda was lying because she did not have 100 dresses. She had only one faded blue cotton dress which she wore every day. Okay? So, when other girls used to tell her that maybe it would hurt Wanda if she asked her every day about her dresses. But Peggy did not feel that her intention was to hurt Wanda. Her reply was that why did Wanda lie about her dresses? She should not have lied. So, she felt that was the reason why she asked her the question again and again, right. So, according to Peggy, she was not wrong in bullying or making fun of Wanda. And here, since Maddie was her closest friend and she wore the clothes given by Peggy, so she couldn't protest this kind of behavior of Peggy. So, she had to be with her, she had to support her, though it was wrong on her part to do so. Don't you feel, children, that she should not have done like that? She should not have supported, because she too was poor and she did not like the way Peggy was making fun of her. But still she did not dare to stop Peggy from doing so. So, this was wrong on her part. Okay. So, this was what we had studied and learnt about the three characters. And also we had looked at the competition, right. Miss Mason, their teacher, had organized one coloring competition, a drawing and coloring competition for the children. For the boys it was to design motorboats, and for the girls it was designing dresses. Okay. So, all the girls very enthusiastically had taken part in the drawing and coloring competition. And children, we had read that Wanda had also taken part in the competition with so much of enthusiasm, and she had really worked hard, because all the children had drawn maybe 2 or 3 pictures. But as far as Wanda was concerned, she had drawn 100 dresses. She had really worked hard. So, she had a very good imaginative skill. Her imagination was very good. She was very creative. So, all the time when she told Peggy that she had 100 dresses, those 100 dresses were there in her imagination. She had imagined beautiful 100 dresses, and she had put her imagination into picture, wonderful pictures. All the 100 dresses looked different. None of them were similar, children, isn't it? You might have read in the text. Okay. So, all the 100 dresses were beautifully drawn, they all were different, they all were so creative that each and every picture was worth winning a prize. So, Peggy and Maddie and other girls had also participated in this competition, right? And they did not ever think that Wanda could draw so beautifully. You know, they had never imagined also, because according to them she was poor, she did not speak to anyone, she did not have any friends, she sat in the corner of the class. So, according to them, you know, they were very good in studies. Only those students who were not good, they sat on the last bench. So, they did not have a very good opinion about Whywanda. And what happened one fine day, they were all eagerly waiting for the result of the competitions to be announced. Okay? And according to everybody in the class, they believed that Peggy was going to be the winner. There was no doubt. As I told you, she was the most popular girl in the class. She was pretty, she was rich, and she was good in studies. And according to her, she was very good in coloring also, drawing and coloring. So, everybody thought Peggy was very good in drawing and coloring. So, she was the one who is going to win the competition. Okay. So, everybody eagerly waited for the result. And we had also seen that for 3 days Whywanda did not come to school, she was absent. Okay. And that was what disturbed Peggy and Maddie, because you know they wait for her outside the school in the yard. Even when she came from home, they waited in the yard and they used to ask her question about her dresses, make fun of her, and then they used to enter the class. And the same way, when the school ended, they would again catch hold of Whywanda in the yard and make fun of her, ask her question, play the dress game with her, and then all alone Whywanda would move back to her house. Okay. But for the past 3 days, they were getting late for the class. Why? Because they waited for her to make fun of her, and finally when she did not come to school, so they came back and they were late. So, that was when they realized her absence, because they could not make fun of her. They waited and she did not come. So, for the last 3 days Whywanda was not coming to school. And now the day of the announcement of the result came, and Miss Mason, their teacher, declared the results. Okay. And among the boys, the winner was Jack Beggles. And any guesses, children, who was the winner? We had seen in the last class, the winner, no doubt, among the girls was Whywanda Petronsky. Okay. I told you that she had drawn beautiful 100 dresses. But the class had never expected Whywanda to be the winner. Okay. And when the results were announced, Whywanda was not there in the class. Now, what was the reaction of the class when the results were announced? You know, normally boys were not interested in the dresses. Their assignment was to design motorboats. Though they were not interested in dresses, the moment they heard that Whywanda was the winner, everybody jumped with joy and they applauded, they clapped hands for her. The reaction of the class was very good. And now Whywanda was not there to listen to all these things or to see with her own eyes how she was being appreciated, how her work was being appreciated. Now, children, the response of Peggy and Maddie, they were also very happy. Though they had not expected Whywanda to be the winner, they too were happy, and Maddie also remembered that Whywanda used to tell her about her blue dress, about her green dress, okay, and they told her that you will look like a Christmas tree in your green dress. Now they understood that all these dresses were there in Whyanda's imagination. But they all felt really bad that Whywanda was not in the classroom to listen to the result and to celebrate her victory, right. So, now this was the first part, children. I took you back to the lesson once again because if we continue the second chapter after quickly recollecting whatever we have learned, that will help us in understanding the second part in a better way. Okay. Children, today we will be looking at page 73, from page 73 to 76 of your textbook, The 100 Dresses Part 2. Now, the results were announced, Whywanda was the winner, okay, and Peggy and Maddie were also very happy about Whywanda being the winner. Now, here there is a twist in the story, children. Now, we all have seen that Whywanda was not coming to school for the past 3 days. Now, what was the reason? Okay. We have seen that though her classmates and especially Maddie and Peggy and other girls made fun of her, she remained very quiet. She just said that she had 100 dresses. She never got angry, she never got irritated, okay, and she always sat in the corner of the class. Now, what happened? Now, after the announcement of the results, Maddie and Peggy were, they started introspection. They felt very bad, especially Maddie. Now, she started, realizing her mistake. Now, how did this happen? Now, the 100 Dresses Part 2 begins with the classroom scene again. Miss Mason asked all the children to have a look at the beautiful drawings made by Whywanda, the 100 beautiful dresses. So, all the children had gathered to have a look at the pictures. In the meantime, what happened? The monitor of the class brought a note for Miss Mason. Now, what was this note? It was a letter from Whywonda's father, Mr. Jan Petrowski. Mr. Jan Petrowski, Whywonda's father, had written a letter to Miss Mason. So, the letter began with a salutation, and then the content of the letter really disturbed Miss Mason. She read the letter again and again. Do you know, children, what was written in the letter? Whywonda's father had written that his children, Whywanda and Jakes, both of them were not going to attend the school anymore. He expressed his intention of not sending his children to that particular school anymore, which was really disturbing. And what was the reason he gave? He said, we are moving to a big city, a city where Whywonda's name would not be funny for people there, for children there. Because in big cities, there are so many people with weird names, with funny names. So, nobody is going to bother about Whywonda's funny or lengthy name. So, she would no more be made fun of because of having a funny, a long or an unfamiliar name. Or she would also not be made fun of because of her dresses, because of being poor. So, this was the reason he had written in the letter, that we are moving to a big city, and there nobody is going to bother about my daughter's name, nobody is going to make fun of her, no more bullying. So, Miss Mason read the letter again and again and again, and you know what she did? She asked all the students to go and take their seats, and she told them about the letter. And the children were also very anxious because they saw the reaction of Miss Mason. She removed her glasses, wiped them, cleaned them and wore them again. And then she spoke in a very low voice. So, that was really disturbing for the students also. So, they could make out that there was something serious. So, now they eagerly waited for Miss Mason to read the letter. Now, Miss Mason read the letter before the class, and then she also warned them. She told them that though she understood that they have done this thoughtlessly, thoughtlessly means unintentionally, they did not do so with an intention. She said, I know you have done this unintentionally, but no more bullying, no more making fun of anybody in the class because of their funny names, because of their lengthy or unfamiliar names. So, you are not going to do that, you are going to stop doing that from today. So, that was what Miss Mason told them. And after the letter was read by Miss Mason, there was complete silence in the class. You know, all the students started thinking about their own behavior with Wanda, and now they started introspecting, they started realizing their mistake, that it was not right on their part to have done like this, which forced Wanda to leave the school. And now comes Peggy and Maddie. Okay. Now, what happened to Maddie? Now, after this letter was read and after the serious situation in the class had started again, but Maddie could not concentrate in her studies. Though she tried to concentrate, but she was very disturbed, because I had told you children that from the beginning she was not in favor of Peggy making fun of Wanda. So, now she started realizing her mistake, and she repented to have done so, to have supported Peggy, and now she calls herself a coward. She feels that she is a coward because she did not have the courage to tell Peggy to stop making fun of Wanda, because she was also her closest friend and she wore the clothes given by her, isn't it? But now she feels that she should not have done that. She should not have supported Peggy, and now she really wanted to go and tell sorry. So, she looked at Peggy. When she looked at Peggy, there was not much reaction on her face. She was busy with her studies, she was concentrating in her studies. And then when Maddie spoke to Peggy, she also agreed that, you know, they need to go and apologize, they need to go and tell sorry. So, Peggy felt that maybe Wanda and her parents might not have left yet, they might be at home. So, Peggy and Maddie decided to go to her house in Borgens Heights and say sorry to her, and also to tell her that she was beautiful, her pictures of 100 dresses were very beautiful, and she was really talented and she was smart. Okay. So, they decided to go, right. So, both of them go to the top of the hill, and you know, though they wanted to reach there before it got dark, both of them walked and walked. They went up the hill and reached Borgens Heights, the place where Wanda lived. So, when they reached the place, it was very shabby, though it was very shabby, but it was clean. The place was full of mud and shabby, but it was clean. Wanda's house was a small white house, and the moment these two girls reached there, they found that Wanda and her parents were not there at home. They had already left. Okay, they had already moved to a bigger city. So, this disappointed both the girls, because sincerely they had come to say sorry and to appreciate Wanda for her beautiful drawings, but they did not get that opportunity too. They missed that opportunity. So, they returned back and they were really sad that they couldn't apologize and they couldn't say sorry to Whywanda. Okay. So, they came back, but children, what was the change in the qualities or the character, or maybe in the opinions? How did the thoughts or feelings of the characters change now suddenly in part 2? In part 1, they were making fun, they bullied Whywanda, okay? They were very proud of their own good qualities. And in part 2, one letter from Whanda's father and Whanda's absence and the decision of Whanda's father of not sending his children to school and to move to a bigger city had brought all the transformation in the children, and especially in Peggy and Maddie. These two girls realized their mistakes, and especially Maddie had mustered courage after this particular incident. She decided that she will not tolerate this kind of bullying in future. She is not going to let this happen to anybody else in future. She is going to be bold and courageous and protest such acts by anybody in the class. So, this was a change that came in Maddie. Even Peggy was a changed person. Okay. She also realized her mistake, and she was of the opinion that she was the best in the class. She was the most popular. She was very confident of winning the competition. But now she admitted that Whywanda was very talented, she was smart, and her drawings were really beautiful. So, as it is said that we should never judge a book by its cover, we cannot judge a person just by their appearance or by their status. Children, in the beginning Whywanda was very quiet. She sat in the corner of the class. She did not speak to anyone. She had no friends. She came alone from home and went back from school alone. Okay, did not react to all the bullyings made by her classmates. But she never, showed that she was very good in drawing, she was very talented, but her work proved herself at the end of the story, isn't it? She had won the competition. She was the best, and so she was a very silent worker. She had proved herself through her deeds, through her talents, hidden talents which she had, and which had changed the opinion of all her classmates, especially Maddie and Peggy, isn't it? So, children, let us stop here today and continue the lesson in the next class. But I would request you to read from page number 73 to 76 whatever we have discussed today, and try to understand the twist in the story and the transformation in the students. So, that would really be interesting for you to read. So, please read the lesson very carefully, and as I always tell you, try to frame small questions and write down their answers. Also look at the questions that are given after each unit in the textbook and see whether you can answer those questions. Let us continue the chapter in the next class. I hope you will read the lesson very carefully and try to understand whatever we have learned today. Happy reading, stay home, stay safe.